Okay, I'd like to call to order the Community Media Committee meeting for August 11th, 2025. Um, Will, did you get everyone for the roll call?
I did, yes.
And who is missing tonight? Do we have?
We are missing so far Dave Bruner and Katie Burns Kaiser.
Okay, and hopefully they'll be able to join us soon. All right. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting, which is July 10th? Motion to approve from anyone?
So move.
Okay, we had a motion, a move from Bill. Is there a second?
A second.
From Anita. Any additions, corrections, any conversation, discussion? All right. So the motion is to approve the minutes as provided in the packet. We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great, motion passed. All right, moving into the main part of the agenda, we've got some ongoing business, which would be our capital budget. And the last time we met, if you recall, we approved everything except one item, which we wanted to hold and leave open for conversation tonight. And that is the um, AV equipment over at the library. The other things were there were no issues or no questions surrounding those. So this would be a good time for us to pick up. And if anyone has any other questions about that AV equipment, I will let you take it away. I know we had mentioned last time wanting to see like service agreements and things like that. So um, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, so I did share some emails with him, and I didn't have him send over service agreements per se, because when you look in a little deeper into the proposal he sent, and if we look, I believe it's going to be, let me get to let me get to where this is standard performance plan, and then there's the VIP performance plan. It definitely lays it out, and both of those technology as a service um, platforms that we were talking about, it all of the options there does come with the standard performance plan. So you would have to opt for the VIP performance plan, which is a little bit more of what you'd want. It's next day on-site response time, service labor included. So if they did need to come fix something, it would be included.
Well, I think this is just going to turn out to be user error on my part, but I'm not seeing the full packet. I'm only seeing the agenda, and you're referencing things that I am not seeing. Did I just
Uh,
not open the right document, or did I?
yeah, I mean, I did download the actual packet that I sent to look at right now, and I'm on page 19 looking at the.
You just downloaded it from the city website as opposed to maybe I was checking
Yeah, I
maybe I was,
actually just went back to the email I sent and downloaded there. I feel like I find it's quicker, almost quicker to do that for me than to go to the website.
yeah, okay.
That's where I got it, was the email.
And,
Okay.
there was, if I may, there were a lot of good points made. Bill suggested, did we give some good reasons why we're even doing this other than some user issues? Um, I thought that was a good point. Um, Alex brought out, if we were going to do this, is this exactly what we want to do? Is this where we hope to get to? And I thought that was a great point as well, as opposed to doing it and not doing it, perhaps right the first time, if you will. Um, so, you know, I, I guess I stand by, I'm my main goal for doing this is to put the dollar amount in front of the people that make the decisions for the city and let them know that this is something that is coming down the road. It doesn't have to be this year, but seeing that we won't be getting a new municipal room anytime soon, not at least within 5 years, I would guess, at the earliest. This equipment probably isn't going to last that long before we start having to call fairings more and more, and then it'll just be irritating, maybe more than it will be financial. Um, and then we may have to start replacing small pieces of the gear that we put in. So, does it have to happen in 2026? No, I don't think it does. Does it make sense to have it in some respect to let the mayor know that there is a sizable investment that is going to need to be perhaps earmarked over the next few years, couple years? I think that makes sense. How we decide to present that to the mayor and to council, I'm up for discussion. The page number, let's see here. Looks like 9 on the packet. I kind of broke some things down a little more on the capital improvements request form. And you can see that if we did the VIP package, which I guess I feel like we would do if we were going to go with technology as a service, let's perhaps get it to where we don't need to invest our time into it. We're kind of investing upfront in the money because they would come and take care of the things that need to take care of. And that would be a $19,000 investment per year, as opposed to, um, I didn't get the total amount of the standard plan, but I could do the math real quick. Anybody's thoughts while I'm maybe doing a little math on the difference in, I mean, it's really just breaking out. The VIP plan is a little over $1,000. The standard plan is a little over $1,000. So it's kind of spreading out $2,000 per month over 5 years. That's the increase, which I believe is somewhere around $300-400 because of um, interest and things like that.
Madam Chair,
Right.
I'm sorry to get all formal on you. I'm going to support moving forward with this. Will, I think you've made a convincing case for putting this in front of the city administration and the mayor to make the argument that we need to deal with this. And I want to thank you for kind of looking forward and anticipating something that's going to be needed and that it's going to be a benefit. I do want to make you aware of one thing that I've observed in attending meetings in that room. And I don't know if this affects what kind of equipment you're getting. I'm certainly don't have the expertise to suggest any particular kind of equipment. That's your department. But when I'm listening to meetings in that room as an audience member, Teresa, your colleagues do not have good microphone hygiene. They don't speak into the microphone. So
Are
we
you
can spend
including me in that?
no, I
Okay.
said your colleagues.
Well,
You are a shining outlier. But
you have to eat the microphone.
we can spend 180,000 or 800,000 on the best equipment in the world, and if people don't speak into their dang microphones, it's not going to work.
So true.
Yep. I do a pretty good job of just walking out and placing the microphone in front of their face. Obviously, the high schoolers are a little more timid to go out to a city leader and shove a microphone in their face.
You
But
know, if community media is responsible for producing a video recording of meetings that community members can watch, we should probably think of a way to address this. And perhaps it's as simple as a little sticky note or something that says, speak into the microphone, something. I'm happy to do something like that. You're right, Bill. It shouldn't be that hard. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I mean, that's something we could do as well as make
Low
little
budget, low
place
cost, just like
little
a
place
little,
cards or something that are by the microphone that just say,
like on the back of every person has like a nameplate, like on the back, you could just print something and say
right.
something, some
Yeah,
phrase, you know,
it's not a bad idea in the back of the nameplate.
then it'll always be there.
Will, I have a question,
Sure.
actually. With the VIP plan and the equipment, can you get those updated?
Get the equipment updated.
The microphones?
Oh, well, see, so that's part of it. I didn't this quote does not include the microphones. That's
Mhm.
another reason why I kind of just wanted to talk her through this a little bit and say, here's just for kind of programming the system
Mhm.
and getting new video to match up with the audio so that zooming is a little bit easier and we're not dealing with this echoey reverb sometimes when people have to fade up, fade down, and figure out which one they need to do. And it's just going to help the functionality, but it does not include new microphones,
Okay.
which
Do we,
is somewhat of an issue, and it's expensive. I mean, that will certainly drive up the cost a little bit.
maybe we don't need new microphones, but it's good to know what's included and what's not included.
Right. I mean, the microphones are getting old too. So that I mean that'll kind of be part of the process, whether we kind of do this in parts, which I assume we may, because it'd be a pretty big, chunk of money for one capital budget to do everything at once.
Right.
Um, Perhaps, I know this still isn't a huge amount of money when you look at Public Works and Parks and Rec, but it's a chunk of money.
I have one other question, just because I don't know. For the city budget, is that an annual budget or a biannual budget or?
Annual. It's reviewed annually, but with the intention that we're looking 5 years out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if any of these items, if the mayor takes them out, or if we take them out and the mayor puts, whatever it is, I mean, if it's taken out 1 year, it might get back in the next year. It's just, yeah. I am thinking a little bit about Bill's comment, sometimes it's not the technology, it's the user of the technology that's really, so what problem are we trying to solve here, right? But like Bill said, I think Will has made a good case that the technology is old, but we should also think about ways to get people using what we have in the way it's supposed to be used, because that's free, right?
And it's hard in the
It's
moment
it
as a
is.
council
It is.
person, as a plan commission
Yep.
person,
Yep.
to be thinking about the plan of a new development, but to also make sure I'm speaking into my microphone when we're talking about, it's just not necessarily what they were on the committee to do is to make sure that these
Well,
recordings.
yeah,
So I
but
get it. I mean, I'm not back grumbling about that. That's just kind of par for the course for my profession, for this profession. Nobody likes to hold a microphone close to their mouth. I don't
yeah.
even like to do it. Your voice just booms out of it, and yeah, I don't like it, but kind of what you
So
gotta
is
do.
is there any more discussion on this?
Yeah, Teresa, I'd just like to add, again, I agree with really some of the very important points I think that Bill just made. And that is one of the things Will consistently does for us is he looks forward at equipment. And this is an area that even with the media committee and even with the people with the expertise on our committee, we rely on Will to identify and stay on top of what is important to this committee to bring forward to this community. And one of the most important things that he's always brought forward and emphasized was basically the city council meetings and the school board meetings. And those are two major things that are a critically important part of our community. And there's nothing greater than being able to turn it on and watch it. And not only, and be able to hear what's said. And I hate to bring forward a personal example, but it's incredibly helpful for us to be able to go back and look at something that occurred, watch it, be able to hear it and understand it. So when we asked the Director of Business Services, what is our fund balance? And he said 15%. That was all very clear. Understanding in the meantime, before you need to make a huge investment in the equipment, we can work on making sure people, for instance, making sure that Nancy and Elizabeth say, make sure you have your microphone in a place where your speaking can be heard. Otherwise, we will be losing your transmission. I mean, and a note and whatever. But the other thing we have to continue to be aware of as the media committee is the needs that will, and particularly now as everything continues to improve dramatically, the expenses we're going to have to at least request for in this environment.
Thank you. Is there any more discussion about the approval of this particular capital budget item? Questions, clarification needed? Will, can you just briefly recap or summarize the option that we're voting on?
Well, if I was going to go to the mayor, I would show her the higher number so that she's prepared for when we actually were to do this. And even if she decides to move forward this year, and I would do the full audio and video equipment technology as a service plan at 1589 per month, which equals out to $19,075 per year for 5 years.
Is there a motion to approve that expenditure
I move to approve the expenditure.
that Will stated and as he outlined it?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. A second?
Second.
Second by Bill Groff. Any further discussion before we vote? Okay. All in favor of the motion on the table to approve the expenditure as described by Will, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, great. Motion passes. Excellent. We have approved the capital budget. Now we get to move on to the next fund budget, which is the operational budget. This is our first read. It'll come back up again. So, Will, can you give me the page number? That's always helpful to just.
So I'm showing 30.
Thank you.
Sometimes it differs depending on what you're looking, what kind of reader you're on, but yeah.
Yeah, it does. Sometimes you can have like the little sidebar there.
And I see it printed out kind of small. I have to really zoom in here. So I'll do a little background on the revenue section, just so we're all kind of up to speed. Then we could stop there and talk a little bit. So if you look at the top, 2022 through 2026, you'll see general property taxes as revenue. And it wasn't until 2023 that we were actually needing to uh, gather resources and funds from property taxes. Prior to that, we were able to fund the entire department through franchise fees. But as the station grows, as the station needs, the station meaning the radio station, I should say, because that was kind of a big media purchase, if you will. Um, as as things are needed at the high school and for the city, they and the franchise fees slowly drift down, not substantially, but a little bit. You can see, we'll go over that next. Um, we're needing to tap into the general property taxes, and over the years, that's gained, um, gained and gained a little bit. In 2025, it obviously increased quite a bit with the referendum, and now in 2026, a small amount. And with that, if you look at state aid and franchise fees, you'll see that we are getting about $112,000 in franchise fees. When I started in 2014, I believe 2016, we received 136,000 in franchise fees was our highest amount. And since then, it's dwindled and moved. There's been some changes in the budget and way in the way they siphon out the franchise fees, which has affected that as well a little bit. So you can see that we have lost a chunk, probably, it's probably gone down about 20,000 over the course of 7 years, roughly. When we look at other revenue, which in 2026 will be 93,000, that is from our partnership agreement with the Monona Grove School District. So essentially, they are funding a percentage of myself and Brennan to take care of the high school and some of the school district needs, such as school board meetings, which there's a small amount in the part-time budget for some of the high schoolers, but also, of course, Brennan and I are part of that as well in some fashion. So that's kind of the revenue side real quick and how that works. Any questions there? I should look at you before I was looking at the page.
It's okay.
Well, I do have a question.
Sure.
Is there anything in revenues that accounts for any sponsorship donor income through the Friends of WVMO?
No, and that's a great point. When I uh, mentioned that to Nancy last year, I had said we last year we got about 6,000 in underwriting, and she has said that, well, we should probably start putting that as a line item. Mark has not put that in yet. This is, like I say, the first kind of draft for him, and um, essentially the only draft for him, and then we go from here. So I need to work with him to get that final number of what we received from the Friends group last year, and I could put that in. Um, and there's also a possibility, to be honest with you, looking at the numbers, and I didn't ask him, but I will now, that he may have put that in under other revenue, but because it's not a for sure thing every year, the 2026 would not include it, but he may have added that into the 2025, though I guess I doubt it now that spinning around, confusing people. I don't think he's added it at all, and it would be something to put in, but it was about 6,000 in 2025, and we're on pace this year to be, I'm guessing, could actually get up to 10,000, perhaps. And there was also an agreement with the Monona East Side Business Alliance that brought in some revenue of about 10,000 this year as well.
Thank you. I think it would be really helpful to have things like that itemized, just a little more specific breakdown.
I
And
agree.
also, parenthetically, remember that meeting where we didn't have a quorum, but we had kind of an informal conversation going. DJ Shotsky was here and she was going to try to give a report on sponsorships and underwriting. And that didn't happen because we didn't have a quorum, but I saw her the other day and she would love to come back if we can get her on the agenda and learn more about that. And maybe that would help kind of inform the budget discussion too. Or it could happen later. It doesn't have to be part of the budget.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that would make sense in September or October for sure after the 10th anniversary celebrations are
Mhm.
over and
Yeah.
looking
Thank you.
to.
Well, could you just repeat what would be the purpose of her returning?
She was going to give an informational presentation on what the Friends of VMO are doing to increase sponsorships and what was the other term?
Underwriting?
Will help me out here. There's two words that we use: underwriting,
Underwriting.
sponsorships, and underwriting. Yep.
Yes.
And I think and maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like there's been a general sense between the Friends and the committee and staff. Will, is this correct, that we want to try to grow that sector of revenue?
We do. You do. I mean, it's an important part because it's just never going to be easy to fund a radio station for a city. Um, I think the trick is just doing it the right way and not having McDonald's and Burger King and, no offense to them, but I don't think that's what people want to listen to, but they might listen to some of the local businesses or some bigger corporations that stand for what we want to at least somewhat have our name attached to. And I think that's the trick is, to me, I think about it's a city-owned, city-licensed station. When we start doing underwriting, we got to be careful with, who's giving us money and then having some potential not so good relation. I think we get it.
I think if Willie Frederick gave us a daily update on whether the ice cream machine's working at McDonald's, that would be a huge public service.
Yeah, there you go.
Is that why I can't get chocolate shakes when I go there? That seems to happen every once in a while.
What happened to the twist? You used to get a twist. Now it's like vanilla. Anyway, so yeah, I'd like that update, Bill. So Will, you mentioned, it'd be nice to keep away from, it'd be nice to, like, framing in the positive, it'd be nice to really focus that underwriting on like local, one of a kind, mom and pop places, right?
Yeah.
Instead of the sort of things that are nationwide.
Or some of the things that PBS is doing. That's a little more, without getting too much in the weeds as before they get in the budget. The thing I think about again as a department is flooding our station with a number of different local businesses, and then it becomes a resource issue or a
ad after ad.
annoyance issue because local businesses can maybe only give 100 at a time. And so we're getting all this different money in and we're getting all these different spots in here and there and not,
Instead of one big.
so there's a lot of different things at play of what makes sense, not only for who we're partnering with, but also the workload and all around.
Is there anything that this committee, at a future meeting, is there anything this committee needs to think about? I mean, in addition to inviting, is it DJ Shotsky? Isn't that the name of the dance, the Shotsky? I don't know. But
And I apologize. I know she has a real name, and I
Oh,
can only
Stacey
remember the air
Hartwell.
name.
Stacy
Thank
Harbaugh.
you.
Because she
Thank you.
does the polka thing, right? The
Yeah,
polka
yeah.
shoe. Okay, yeah. But
She
to have
probably
her
will.
come back,
She probably will make a dance called the Shotsky at some point. I'd wait for it.
I'm thinking of the Shottish. Anyway,
Oh.
so she could come back and explain to us what's going on with the Friends and what they're doing to increase their sponsorship. That's a great place to start the conversation. Do you foresee at any point in a future meeting beyond that the need for this body to think about anything beyond, I mean, what we learned? I mean, are we in any way involved in that, or is that strictly the Friends do that? We don't touch it.
Well, I mean, I guess that, yeah, that could be a different discussion of what makes sense. I don't know. And
I have
again,
no answer.
right?
I
I
asked
mean,
because I don't know. Yeah,
most friends groups are fundraising groups. So, and then
right.
where does it make sense to the committee to be involved or just to know about it or just to give ideas to the friends group, which could
That's
be
it.
like
Yeah.
totally on just an email to Stacy and Meg? I mean, I don't know. I know, Amanda, you had your hand up a long time ago and you took it
I'm
down.
sorry. I'm
I
not
did.
doing my job. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. My question was about Monona Go, and we had previously talked about possibly that going away with Nancy a few months ago. So I'm curious if that is a line item on here.
So currently, I did not put that money into this budget because it was about a $3,000. I don't think I brought that document home with me. My apologies, but I will absolutely be able to go over that in our next meeting. But it's about a $3,200 price tag every year. And when we look at the stats, it was hard to say, should we keep spending that money or should we take a pause and maybe in 3, 4 years we get the app again? I mean, did we kind of miss the mark and maybe we're just a little too early for the Monona crowd and maybe in a couple years, I don't know. I guess that would be the next probably bigger discussion for the committee because yeah, we did. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember last time we talked about it, it was we weren't going to invest committee time into trying to get more people to use it because it wasn't worth it and um, because YouTube is such a hard thing to compete with.
Mhm.
So when I looked at the budget and what I could do with that 3,200, there was a few things that made sense to put towards as opposed to that. But it's certainly a discussion that, yeah, we definitely need to have and all kind of come to a conclusion if we think that's something we want to continue to provide.
If it's not in the budget, we really cannot continue to provide it, right?
Well, I mean, like if you guys say we'd like to see what that budget number would be if it was added in, I mean, I could say the budget would increase by 3,000. Um, I could get rid of an Adobe subscription, so we would have two instead of one, or excuse me, we'd have two instead of three.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I could maybe find some creative ways to move some things around. I think the tough part Brennan and I are having is we're not seeing people use it like we'd like,
Right.
and therefore the time he's taking to load it into the system, which isn't terrible, but it's still something he has to do every time a new public meeting happens. Is it worth our time to load them into both YouTube and Monona Go, or it doesn't feel like we can give up on YouTube, seeing how it's the most ubiquitous thing on the
Right.
internet right now, one of them anyway. But again, I'm happy and appreciate people's perspective on what they feel.
And the YouTube videos are visible to anyone in the world.
Correct. And the
Right.
Monona Go is too. It's just trying to,
You have to download the app first, though. Yeah. Yeah.
and you can watch You can watch our station when it's streaming live on the website. But again, that's kind of a convoluted way to go to the website, go to community media, click on watch live.
Yeah. It really is a shame that the Monona Go app didn't sort of fulfill the wishes that we thought, this app could be so amazing. And in the beginning it was really cool, but then the more you use it, the more it had a little clunkiness to it.
I mean, I think that's part of it, is it's really almost kind of like a spreadsheet with videos attached to it, and you just kind of go down the list and click on what you want. It's not too integrated with other, it's kind of like a YouTube. There's not a whole lot more to it. It'd be nice if we could um,
I wonder if we
make it our own more.
kind of like the microphones. Is there just something on the user end that we're not, seeing? I wonder if we exhausted all of the ways in which the videos could be presented and sorted and named for easy viewing, or just things that we could have done to customize that environment. I feel like the answer to that question is yes. It's been a while.
Well, I think the issue is the design and the layout and the app itself, we don't control. That is the company that we bought it from. So no matter what we do, we can't go, oh, let's move these videos around and let's present it differently. We actually can't present it differently. All we can do is make more categories for videos. That's legitimately all we can really do.
Okay. Bill, or Amanda, was there anything else you wanted to ask about Monona Go?
That was it. I was just trying to see how it was laid out on what item it was on this list.
Yeah. And you weren't seeing it. Yeah. Okay. And then Bill, you had a question?
Yeah, I think Will, at one of the meetings, when Nancy was chair, we did have this information, but I can't remember. Are there metrics on how many views people have done on Monona Go of meetings, or do we only have metrics on the number of downloads of the app?
No, we can look at what they're downloading or what they're watching for sure. Let me I can go right now. I can log in and I can show you.
Or if you want to save that until next meeting, because I'm kind of sensing this might be coming back to our next monthly meeting before we take final action. So if you want to just bring metrics then, that would be okay with me, unless other people are eager to see it now.
Well, it's pretty quick. I'm already on the site and I can show you right now if we go to
I have in my notes, people have downloaded it, but they're not using it. So let's stop paying for it. How's that for using? And the stats would be nice. I had that in my notes too. So that's been a while.
Yeah, so here and then we can go all look at time series. All right, I can share my screen here and we can at least we can certainly do this again and I can work with Brandon and have a more of a spreadsheet if people or at least document next time if people want to get into it a little bit more. Let me share.
I also have it in my notes that we cannot make changes, but we could still submit suggestions to the creator of Monona Go. But who knows about that?
Yeah, I mean, we could just give them our feedback and say nobody's watching our stuff. We think it's
Right.
not think it's not laid out well, or we would like to have more options, So 11 views over the course of a week.
Oh,
And if I scroll, let's see here, date range. I appreciate screen sharing, but there's always so much stuff on the screen. Let's just do roughly 1 month. How about that? We'll go even a little further. Total of 15 views on demand, one live stream viewed, 52 views altogether
This month.
in a month.
Oh my gosh.
Oops, sorry.
Well, this is also summer when TV viewing in general goes down. I mean, even on network television. I wonder if the numbers look any different in like February, March, April.
Yeah, let's do it.
Does it show how many unique users?
I am not sure about that. Let's go February and March. Let's look at so the spring candidate forum did okay. View time was all together, so it's a total view time. So 50 viewers averaged 50 minutes, not even.
And then they all switched over to YouTube.
Probably. Or they were just, yeah, who knows, right? I mean, that's a good, I don't even know. Oh, here you go. 4 seconds, 3 minutes, 22 seconds.
And what is Monona Live? Is that just people watching whatever the live feed is of the cable
Yep,
channel?
correct,
Okay.
correct.
Like
So
concerts.
we don't know. It could have been some of these things that they were watching live, and what you're listing below are uh playbacks of recordings.
Right.
Mm,
And I think
So
that
yeah.
the real kicker is if I went to YouTube and showed the statistics is when the numbers are significantly different.
higher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
significantly higher. So 15 views for like a mass transit meeting, a total of 5 minutes. Oops. That's all the data they can give you. So I could, are you seeing me switch around all over here?
Are you able to sort by the column with the number of views in to see what the most viewed thing was over a period of time? Or is it already sorted that way? And maybe we're doing too much here to take up too much time in this meeting, but I want to thank Amanda for bringing this up and for noticing that it wasn't in the budget, because I think it's a conversation worth having, and maybe next meeting we can pick up on it.
Yeah, that's a good place to leave it.
I feel like also if we were to go back in meeting notes, I almost feel like we made this decision at a previous meeting. Like it,
Yeah, when Nancy was the chair.
yeah, I think that's possible. Or we got like 90% there that if we just went back to the notes.
Right.
Yeah, we sunsetted it. All right. All right. Rest in peace,
Exactly.
Monona Go.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't get back there. Come on. We weren't, I believe if I'm correct, we didn't like vote that we weren't going to use it anymore. We just weren't going to spend committee time at the time trying to figure out campaigns and ideas on how we can promote it. I feel like that's what we voted, what the committee said we didn't want to move forward on.
That was my understanding as well. All
I
right.
think you're right. And it never, it doesn't have to be a Monona Go versus YouTube conversation, like which one's better, or does it have to be one or the other? I think each has its own distinctive characteristics, and it can be a both and solution or one or the other. But I heard over and over again the argument that Monona Go is useless because everybody's watching YouTube. Well, It's not necessarily that simple.
I'm going to move on back to the page 30 of our packet. Are there any other questions that we just want to, this is our first read of the operating budget. Will talked about revenues. I think the expenditures are kind of self-explanatory, but not always. There might be a question there that someone has. Will, did you want to talk about staffing, wages, anything like that? I think that's always a big
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
So, obviously no new employees, no increased hours for any employees. Um, Essentially just it was a 3% raise recommended across the board.
And that is where we're seeing the jump from 2024 to 2025 in the wages, the first two.
2025 to 2026.
Correct, sorry.
Um,
Well, no, so the yellow, the highlighted lit column is 2025, right? So in 2024, radio wages were 26,332, and in 2025 they're 37. Part-time was 46, another 64. Am I reading that correctly?
yeah, but maybe I confused people from a 3% increase from the 2025 wages for 2026.
And what positions are these for? What are the wages? What positions are these funding? Joe Martin, obviously, and then what else?
It is the WVMO station director. It is the WVMO music director. It is the part-time high school positions, which we have one, two, three students right now. It is the content producer position that is mainly at the high school. And that position essentially is, you can see, funded pretty much by the other revenue of how the city, or excuse me, the school district provides revenues. Those are the employees.
So station director, music director, part-time students, and content director at the high school, you said, or content
Yeah, I mean,
producer?
his title when he was hired is multimedia content producer.
Any other questions about the value, or Bill, does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else looking at that part of the budget there? I'm curious about professional development.
Yes.
Oh no, sorry. I was looking at the wrong line. Forget it.
Okay.
I thought $1,900 was in professional development. That's health insurance. Okay, forget it. Right?
Oh, 19. Yeah, under radio. Yes.
Yeah, that's health insurance.
I see where you're at.
Okay. If there are no other questions, this will come around then next time for a vote. And our next meeting is September, second week of, what is it? Second Thursday in September, Wednesday. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I'm blanking on it.
It's the
that'll
next meeting will be September 11th.
Okay. So I'm going to move on then to department reports.
Can I
And
just stop 1 second and say, when we meet next time, is there anything specific you would like to see? We talked about YouTube, Monona Go, um, just in general, not in general, in specifics, what you'd like to me to bring to the meeting so I make sure I get what everybody wants to look at.
so that we can make a decision. Yeah.
Is there anything else besides Monona Go that's a change from this year in your proposal for next year? I guess that'd be the other question.
Um, no, other than we had 4 Adobe license, Creative Cloud license, we now went down to 3 because it was actually more expensive. Um, because 3 is now more expensive because I went and talked to them because I needed to get the taxes taken off because some of them were still charging taxes. And in that process, it's like you open Pandora's box and all of a sudden it was, oh, you should be under 1 license and you're not an actual school, you're a city, therefore you don't get the school discount. And so
Nice.
I ended up should have just kept my mouth shut, but I was trying to do the right thing, and there you go. So we went down from 4 licenses to 3, which isn't a huge deal. It's a big deal. We actually probably not going to make much of a difference because it depends on how much the students use it. And if they use it a lot, well, then they can figure it out. And I do believe they even have Adobe account that they could probably sign into. It's a little more restrictive, I believe, but if it came to it, they could make it work.
All right. So if people have any requests that you think of after the meeting is over tonight, Will, should they just email those to you and courtesy
Yeah, I
copy?
mean,
Okay.
do we want to see some specifics with the YouTube usage, or I mean, the Monona Go, I did there's not a whole lot I can manipulate, but I certainly can give some more information if we're thinking that's going to sway anything with the Monona Go.
Well, if there are any numbers that were already presented at a previous meeting, if you can just pull up a document that was already created, that'd be great. But don't spend a lot of time creating anything new.
Okay.
Just speaking for myself.
All right.
Okay, so just ask what is the question that we're trying to answer?
I think the question is, do we want Will to dig up or produce statistics on
Sorry,
usage? Oh,
not to interrupt, backing up a little bit. What is the question about all of that we're trying to answer, right? Because we had a lot of stats and stuff. We talk, is it to promote it or to stop licensing it, or what is that question? Or where are we going with
yeah.
that?
Why are we asking questions? What is the ultimate goal here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we hoping to bring back Monona Go, or are we hoping to let it go?
I'm happy to take a crack at answering that. When Amanda pointed out that Monona Go is not in the budget, or at least it appears it's not in the budget, um, I guess I'm interested in like reaching a comfort level of why it's not in the budget and that we're not going to go forward with it. And that's why I'm asking Will to look up the numbers.
Okay.
I don't have a preconceived idea that it should or shouldn't be in, but I just want to see what our information is that we're working from if that's going to be the decision.
So, Bill, the preliminary numbers that you saw tonight, I know they're just a sampling of a larger data set, but
But I think it would be interesting to compare across channels, right? That would be kind of maybe to get to your point, Bill, of like where is it all happening, right? If you
Mhm.
to get more comfortable with that, like where do you want to invest that energy?
And there's no cost to having a YouTube channel, like managing that, or is there a cost associated with that?
I'm sorry, can you say the first part again?
Is there a cost associated with having our own YouTube channel?
No, the YouTube is free. It doesn't cost us anything.
Yeah.
Will, do you see a future where this app that we found sort of fell short of some of the things we would like it to do. We call it Monona Go. Do you see a time down the road where the creator of that app is going to make that app better to the point that we would want to bring it back?
I
Hard to say.
honestly,
It's hard to
honest,
say.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like probably not because they're just so the people that created the app are actually the same people that built the hardware that is our output for our video. So
Right.
they're basically taking the library that's in our video server that plays out to our channel and whatever, and putting it into an app form and saying, here's a list of the videos that are in our library. For them to invest in a more dynamic app, I think it could happen. I'm surprised they haven't done it yet. We're also talking about a company that serves community media organizations and a little bit of digital displays. And it's not like community media organizations are thriving. So I don't know if their business is thriving to a point where they would reinvest into something. Maybe. I have not talked to them and discussed with them at all of where they plan to go and what they plan to do and what the um so I would guess, I mean, I don't know anything about app development, but I've just heard that it's super expensive. And that's why I jumped at it because it was super cheap compared to what I heard were some of the prices making it super expensive. But I think we somewhat found out you get what you pay for.
Right.
We got an Excel spreadsheet on an
Right.
app somewhat.
Yeah.
Um, and if we wanted to pay a good chunk of money, then we can probably get an app that integrates more with My Monona and all that fun stuff.
So a couple,
But it'd be expensive.
yeah, a couple of things going through my mind. I think the previous committee with the previous chair, Nancy, it felt to me like the decision was to let Monona go. Um, this committee is welcome to, open that discussion again. I just feel like, what does that do? We put it back in the budget, the mayor takes it out.
And there isn't a specific line item for it. I mean, to Amanda, to your point, it would have been under television studio maintenance cost. And that would have been, so it was $52,060. There was some additional costs and some mistakes on my part in the last budget in the 2025 that I didn't add in. I didn't add in I misjudged how much something was going to cost, and I'm sorry it's slipping my mind, but it was essentially um I can't think of what it was now. It was something. It was, I believe it was our like infrastructure costs of um phone service, which is our cell phones cost that we all use and communicate with each other. And I didn't add that in, which is about $1,500 when you add in, I think it's about $40 a month for three people's cell phones. And I and I didn't add that in. I was under the assumption that it was always going to the facilities, city's fee for cell phone usage. But then it was going under the studio maintenance portion. And so
Was that going to be added in when we,
that's
so,
right now. That's why you don't see that $3,000
but
difference because there was adjustments that were made in studio maintenance that
what I'm
I can
saying is when we come back next time, will page 30 look different?
no,
Oh,
it will look exactly the same unless you want to put Monona Go back in. But let me just give you, okay, so the telephone line items. Let me just, because that's where it would be. Um, I want to make sure that it's fully transparent on what's happens here because it was my budgeting error of why it doesn't look like we have $3,000 sitting there. So oh, there we go. So I want to go back to
You're looking at
this.
studio maintenance, jumped
Yeah.
a bit
Okay.
here. Hmm,
So telephone was 600 and
Right.
it's 600 again, and that's
Same
my
as last
bad.
year. Yeah.
I still have to figure out what they want to do with that. So I don't want to go down that road because it used to be a $50 a month. Now it might be less because of the plan that we have. So more so the the three subscriptions to Adobe are going to be $3,500 a year. Last year they were about $2,200 a year.
And what line would that Adobe
That's under
subscription?
studio maintenance 341.
So that's why it jumped from
Well,
24/7.
right, because Monona Go was also under that, and we saved about 3190 roughly. Um, and I don't have that exact number, but it's about 3,000 from not subscribing back to Monona Go next year. But we paid more in Adobe subscriptions. We also still have to pay in our Cablecast unit, which is the unit that has Monona Go, but we have to pay for our streaming so that we can stream out from it. And that's $1,400 for the year.
So the reason I'm looking at studio maintenance, the reason that number has jumped is because of the Adobe subscription.
Correct.
And then, okay. I'm also seeing a big jump in equipment from 1,200 to 5,000.
Yeah, and so that changed because we are now on the capital budget for the city. So the 5,000 for equipment is a if you are emergency needs type of situation. It's not um, the equipment, the capital budget equipment. It is more of we need to buy something now. This is our emergency equipment purchase. And I can get a little more better uh, tips, example when I talked to Mark a little bit because I was not aware of this. He actually just told me I was coding all of my equipment to the wrong number
Okay.
because I actually should have been coding it to capital, and we've only been going to the capital budget for a couple years, and apparently he must have just been switching it over for me. But this year he decided to tell me that actually it's a different number that you code your things. Um,
So
so
we're talking about the line for
right.
equipment.
Right. So that is just now it is just like this generic 5,000 that if hell or high water, if you need to purchase something and you don't have capital budget or it's not a capital item, it's more like maybe you needed a printer or something like that, or you need things that are more operational equipment and not necessarily capital equipment. Like I said, I'm gonna get a better explanation if you need one. I was not necessarily aware that that was even a thing.
So for our next meeting, I'm hearing that that's another thing that you'll be getting us then, and sort
Okay.
of more details on the equipment increase. Um, we got the details on the studio maintenance increase. That was the Adobe subscription. Stats on Monona Go. Anything else from the room?
I mean, I will say I also so part of the reason the 5260 in 2025 with that number was because I also was low on my number for Monona Go in general. So when I put the budget together with the Adobe subscriptions and the Monona Go, I came out to 5260 in 2025. And then when they actually sent me the bill, my number for how much it all cost was more. And I will explain that later, but
Okay.
that's why it didn't go down a ton because of the Adobe subscription and because of I did not get the right number of how much it cost in the 5260.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll if if we're gonna go down the road of yep, we want to let's look at everything, we will look at everything, and I'll break out these numbers within these categories.
All right. I want to be mindful of time, so I'm just going to keep moving forward then on the agenda with quick little updates on department reports, WVMO news and updates, and then community media updates.
Yeah.
Go well.
I think the biggest thing in sense of time is Thursday night at San Damiano. We're gonna celebrate 10 years. We're gonna have Wheelhouse. We're gonna have the tent. We'll have all sorts of stuff. We're gonna celebrate Lindsay Wood Davis at Set Break for all of his hard work with the station over the last 10 years, as he's gonna kind of step back and do whatever he wants to do other than calling and talking about things we can do for the station. He's going to not do that anymore. What did he say in that article? He said they would call me when they have questions, and then I would sometimes call them when they didn't know they had questions. So that's he claims he won't be doing that anymore. So he's going to just go paddling as more. He likes to paddle the rivers, and so that's great. I think it's he calls it founder syndrome. So anyway, anyhow, that's what we're gonna do.
That's Thursday.
That's Thursday. Any
Okay.
other big news? Not so much. We got
Newsletter.
football season coming up. High school is gonna start in about 3 weeks. And so that means Brennan will be real busy kicking off the season with the students. And we are working on underwriting for WVMO, and Joe is, kind of keeping the contacts of the local venues and talking to them, and Stoughton Opera House being one of them. Well, I think we are also still going to Orton Park Fest, if I'm not mistaken. Still working on volunteers there, which I think is a one thing to bring up, which will be something moving forward, is how do we handle the Friends group and all the events? Does the Friends group and this isn't something for the committee by any means because it's a friends group thing, but if that's the news, is how do we keep the friends group going when it's the same amount of friends going to all these events and it's a lot of work as opposed to working on fundraising. They get burnt out going doing all these events and then fundraising doesn't go anywhere. But that's more of a topic for them to discuss, not necessarily me or us, I guess. Um, So yeah, that's about what's going on right now. I mean, obviously it's budget season, so the city's focused on the budgets, and um, I'm trying to find new ways and better ways to communicate for the city. So I think that's something as people move about their ways in Monona. Not that it's going to happen, but if you happen to have ideas and thoughts of what could be communicated better or more often or in a different way, I'm more than happy to hear it and take it back to staff.
Sounds good. All right. Well, hopefully everybody can make it out to San Damiano on Thursday. Wheelhouse, you could not ask for, I think I predict unless the weather doesn't cooperate, I think it's going to be a pretty big deal. So, all right. That brings us to adjournment, and I will take a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn.
Alex is is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. All right. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate all the time that people put into this.
Yes,
And
thanks everybody.
all right. Hey, Will, do you mind?